Good morning. We're going to get started here in a little bit, so if we can, I know we're running out of seats, but while we get settled and to get ready to go, our Ponca princesses here want to honor our elders that are with us today. And they're going to be bringing around some of these little bundles that have the sacred Ponca corn that was grown this year and harvested this fall. And so the elders, please help these young ladies. Raise your hand, they'll bring you some and give you one of these bundles. We want to make sure all of our elders have that today. Don't be shy. We know you're old. Some of us are older than others. Did all of our elders get some? Oh, we still need some more? Over here. Okay, I think we got almost everybody. And again, that's to honor our elders that are here today, and if however you pray with that bundle, if you go home and plan it, those prayers that you say reach all of us, and so we thank you for that. So we'll get started here today. It's an honor to be here with you today and to share in this historic occasion. And before we get started, we want to do this in our way, and we're going to have Larry Wright Sr. Say our invocation here.
Aho, Wakanda, we ask that you have pity on us. We ask that you help guide us. As we gather here today, we want to honor our relatives, all our relation that went before us. We want to thank them for what they had given us, the strength, the courage, and the wisdom to keep going on, carrying on. Because here we are today. This has been a long struggle for us. But through their help and what they gave each and every one of us for us to go forward, we want to thank them. And we want to thank them for all that they have done for us so that we will be here in the future. With this new opening here, it will be for our great-grandkids, our children, so that they will be able to go through our programs that we have, that this will help our programs to make our people stronger and to be able to move forward with their lives so that they will have something. And we want to thank you, Creator, for all that you have done for us, for all that you have given us. And we ask that each and every one of us do something special today, whether it be great or small, to help Mother Earth. We must realize that we must protect, preserve, and restore, for without her, there is no life. Oho, Dewanga.
Thank you. I'd also like to take a moment and recognize our Ponca princesses here. Our junior Ponca princess, Denaya Garcia. Can you wave at the crowd, Denaya? No? Our little miss, Ashlyn Yunker. Our senior miss, Stevie Horse. And the Heloshka princess, Lexi Drapeau. Our next generations. Again, it's an honor to be here today. And as we get started, we have a couple of songs that our drum group here, Whitetail, is going to sing. But to introduce them more, I'd like to call up our cultural director, Dwight Howe.
Oh, Edewange, Lati Uda. I want to welcome our drum group. You know, we rely on my relative, Umaha, Ponca, Tim Grant. And they're known all over this drum group. They travel, they carry this drum in a good way, and they're known from probably coast to coast. And we're lucky and fortunate to have relatives like that to come here and bring a blessing and a power and medicine that they bring. So I kind of want to say that in a good way, and we're going to go ahead and we're asking to go ahead and do two songs. It's a Ponca flag song.
Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause for that flag song and that honor song. I'd like to call up and recognize Matt Kennedy as a member of the Ponca Gaming Enterprise Group, and he has a few words for us here.
Aho. Ewide, wongide. Ponca wakon tike ari. Udon wongide tatite. Oh. All my relations, good afternoon. And as chairman of the Ponca Gaming Enterprise, warmest welcome that we could all join here today at this new Prairie Flower Casino. The Ponca Gaming Enterprise is a business enterprise of the Ponca Tribe. Tribal Council placed us under a federal charter to reinforce the federal protections of the PTN tribe, tribal sovereignty. And as that tribal sovereignty is our right to possess internal governmental power over all affairs within the tribe. This unique political status establishes a nation-to-nation situation, relationship between the federal government and the tribes. And it's important to note that state governments do not possess that authority. That authority lies in the federal government. And so it's under this federal charter that the Ponca Gaming Enterprise Board of Directors has the responsibility in the development, the operating, the maintaining of all the gaming, resort, and hospitality businesses of the tribe. And as a board, we provide the oversight to the gaming and hospitality businesses while we're relying upon our team, our management, our general manager, and all the other employees that we have here today. And will be here tomorrow and the next day, and the next day. Since time immemorial, the Ponca tribe, we've called the Upper Missouri Valley our home. Our enduring values are of strength, wisdom, and longevity, and determination helped our ancestors overcome countless adversities throughout our history. Today, these values shape our commitment to helping our people become self-sufficient. As the gaming board, our mission is to empower the lives of our people through employment, economic growth, positive community relations, and achieving financial self-determination. Our vision is to be the leading gaming, entertainment, and hospitality company in Western Iowa by providing exceptional services and experiences that reflect the tribe's culture and hospitality. Our core values are preserving our heritage, number one. Number two is always show compassion. And three is to act with integrity. And I remember at some point hearing that the other tribes in the region had a name for the Ponca, and it was translated into the relentless pursuers, persistence. And my grandfather, Gordon Franklin, he was a very proud Ponca, and he's been an inspiration for me my whole life. He would have been 100 years old earlier this year, and I think his proud spirit is here with us today. He's with his people. He's with us, and that's who we are. I'll give you just a little bit background. He grew up, him and his siblings grew up in an allotment outside of Verdell, an allocated piece of rectangular land sitting between Ponca Creek and the Niobrara. Land where his mother grew up, land that his grandfather was given as an allotment, as a dependent through the Dawes Act. But his great-grandmother only knew this land as Ponca land. They didn't have much when they were growing up. The Depression and the Dust Bowl years took their toll. It was really trying. And when he was about 20 years old, he had an opportunity. And he moved to the Pacific Northwest to go into the timber industry. And he worked very hard, and he persisted to make things better for his family. Years later, he took his entrepreneurial spirit and opened up a burger shack, ice cream shop, and then moved on to a gas station. He was very proud. He was a proud Ponca. He was displaced from his homeland, always sharing stories of the people he grew up with, many of whom are your parents or your grandparents. And they would come back to the homeland when they could to rejuvenate themselves with the spirit of their ancestors, our ancestors. And unfortunately, he passed away at a young age in the early 1970s. And when he passed away, he was still Ponca. However, the tribe wasn't recognized due to the termination during that time. And I was young when he passed away. And like many of us of my generation, of around my age, we were born Ponca. We were raised Ponca. But to others, we weren't recognized as Indian. But we never lost sight on who we are. We are Ponca. And 28 years ago, through the Ponca persistence, a few proud Ponca in the relentless pursuit of regaining our tribal recognition enabled the Ponca Tribe of Nebraska to be restored. And over those past 28 years, more of us have contributed our time, shared our knowledge and experience to help build the tribe up to where we are today. Each of us laying a foundation for the next group to build from. And this brings us here to why we're here today. As a sovereign nation, we continue to pursue the different paths towards our self-sufficiency. This path has not been traveled without its obstacles. However, with our Ponca persistence, that relentless pursuit, our inherent determination, we have forged our way through the tangled brush of the river's edge up to the tall grass of the prairie. Each Ponca that has made a part of this journey helped lay a few stones for those that come later to follow and lay their own stones in progress. And this path is infinite. This path is trodden for our children to explore and expand, and their children to experience and enlighten, and then their children to enhance and energize the many generations to come. The Ponca Gaming Enterprise recognizes all the people that have laid these stones and gotten us to where we are today. And I've shared a list with Chairman, and I know he's going to mention some names later. Right now, what I would like to do is just acknowledge the gaming board, if I can. And I don't know if Concita has made it here. I haven't seen her yet, but Concita Zephyr is on our board. Chris Legman, if you could stand, thanks. And then Angie Starkle. There she is. We've been working really hard for our people, giving back to our tribe to create this and to create this opportunity for us. And so I thank all of you, and I thank the board for their hard work and the time that we've put in. And then I'll thank the chairman as well for acknowledging the people later on for that. So, Wangi de Wiblahon. And I'd like to invite Becky up to say a little word too.
First law, short status. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Becky White Sullivan. I am the vice chair of the Ponca Tribe. And just a couple thank yous. I carry this in my boot. There's an earring of my grandma Wenzello. A lot of you know her as Donna Bell. And she's one of those people that had the pursuance along with many of our elders. Also carry an earring of Roberta. From remembrance of her leadership, and she always made sure her voice was heard. So I carry this. Usually you don't see it because it's usually in my boot or somewhere hidden. But I just want to do a special thank you today. One is of the tribal council members. If everybody from tribal council could please stand and be recognized, just so that everybody knows who you are. So you could let's look around and give them a hand of applause. Thank you. And I will have to say that back in 2002, I remember this fresh-faced tribal council member, kind of a baby face. He had a buzz cut, school teacher, full of wisdom in some areas. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Now we're both trying to cover our gray, but have grown with him through the years. He's a very special gentleman. Chairman has been with us through most of this journey in some fashion, serving as chair, serving as the gaming commission. Where are you on? Enterprise board. I get those mixed up still today. He has done a lot of the background work for this. He has worked diligently on attending all the meetings and ensuring that we are moving forward. In fact, he's already got meetings scheduled for phase 2. So no one knows how many hours he has put in to get us where we are today, but he has worked diligently on this project, and just kind of wanted to do a special thank you to Chairman Wright. Now I'll pass it back to the chair.
Thank you very much. I was not expecting that at all. I appreciate those words. Although I'm not hiding my gray anymore. I gave up. But thank you, Matt. Thank you, Becky, for your words. I just want to take a second and recognize our gaming commissioners and that are here in attendance today. Unfortunately, Alexia Boggs couldn't join us today. She'll be with us tomorrow. But those commissioners that are here, Bill Wright and Joanne Ehlers, is she here? I don't see Joanne. Those guys have done about 4 years worth of work in about 6 months, and they came on late. It was a lack of funding, and so we did what we could when we could do it, and I really give them credit for the work that they've done to get us to be able to open, because without them, we wouldn't be able to be open. And so they've done all the regulatory things. And while I'm mentioning it, I'd like to give a shout out to Michael Lofsa, who has helped them as a consultant, and without his leadership and expertise, that wouldn't have been possible. So Michael, is he out here? Inside, okay. We'll make sure we get to see him as well. Again, I appreciate Becky, the vice chair, recognizing our tribal council members and the work that they've been a part of this. Without their support on all of our behalfs, we wouldn't be able to make this happen today. But I prepared some remarks here for us, and I'd like to go into those, so I apologize for giving you a speech. But aho, Ushni Ponca Moshe. I want to thank Wakanda for bringing us all together here today. And I want to say a special thank you and recognize all of our elders that are here today. We're here because of them. And we're here today to celebrate this day and this event, but they've sacrificed more than anybody. And so I don't want to call you out, embarrass you, because I am starting to feel old myself. But I want to recognize our elders who were alive when they were told they weren't Ponca anymore. And so our elders, if you can, please stand and raise your hand so that we can all identify you, because you've been through the most through all of this process. So please recognize them. This is your day. We're here to celebrate you and honor you. You honor us with your presence. I want to continue to thank all of our veterans, our tribal citizens that are here, our young ones that are joining us, all of our friends, all of our relatives, our drum group here, all of those that work on behalf of our people, and all of those that support that may not be Ponca, but you're married into our family. If you're an employee and working on our behalf, you're part of our family. And today, we had 100 new people to our family with all the employees that work in this facility. So thank you all for all that you do. Thank you for joining us for this historic event. And with that, I'd like to say, Omba ide gegede, happy birthday. It's our birthday today. It was 28 years ago today that President George H.W. Bush signed the Ponca Restoration Act, a bill that restored the government-to-government relationship between the federal government and our tribal nation. As we gather today to celebrate our restoration and the opening of Prairie Flower Casino, I want to reflect on the progress that our Ponca Nation has made, facing the challenges brought on by failed federal policies that we inherited, forced removal and loss of our homelands in the 1800s, to the termination era in the 1960s that led to more land losses and disruption in our relationship with the federal government, to the task of rebuilding our tribal nation with our restoration in 1990. Our people have proven our resilience. We have persevered. We are the seeds of resistance of our ancestors. We are survivors, and we continue to grow and become stronger every day. I would like to take a moment to recognize those leaders of the past, those tribal elders who are part of the Restoration Committee. And please forgive me if I forget anybody, but I want to recognize Fred Leroy Idonge, Carlotta Wright, Gloria Kitka, David Larrabee, Leo Miller, Marshall Pritchard, Raven Smith, Diana Warvenek, Kay Albritton, James LaPointe, Marguerite Leclerc, Mario Paniska, Debbie Robinette, Alex Taylor, Donabelle Winzello, Beverly Zephyr, Dwayne Bungie, Dan Larvey, Willis Leroy, Jim Pritchard, Rose Birdhead, Clara Velasquez, Debbie Wright, Alice Roach, Rick Wright, Rhonda Weston, Leonard Mackey, Ernest and Babe Iron Thunder, Ella Buffalo Chief, Alice Wright, Adolph Wright, Tony Larvey, and Mark Phillips. Those were members of the Restoration Committee that were members of our tribe are today. All of those names are listed on this board here. This board is a picture of a buffalo hide that hangs in our agency building that recognizes all of them. Without you, we would not be here today. Please give them a round of applause. Through their efforts, we are here. The Interim Tribal Council led the efforts to purchase and opening the tribal headquarters in April of 1992 with the first office equipment of a folding table, four folding chairs, and a borrowed coffee pot. I still want that picture, Jan. To the opening of the first Omaha office at 6910 Dodge Street in July of 92, and the purchase of the Ponca Agency and the land in September of 1992. Individuals like Dwayne Bungie, who were instrumental in drafting our Constitution and helped leading the first gaming commission. It led to the passage of our first elected tribal council in 1994. Northern Ponca housing has been established. The opening of the offices in Norfolk, Lincoln, and Sioux City. 1996 saw the reintroduction of buffalo back into our homeland with 6 initial buffalo. Our economic development arm, now Ushni Ponca, was established, and we continue to grow. Our population the need for more services, the need for more room. As we outgrow those initial spaces, we have been able to grow with eyes to the future. And today, our population is nearing 4,300. That's a long way from that initial roll. Norfolk has been blessed with growth, with a 50-acre campus, and it has seen new improvements on it. We were able to replace and build a new tribal headquarters fitting for our tribal nation. And this past year, we were able to buy the building that our office in Sioux City is to allow for the growth that it desperately needs. In Lincoln, we have a historic, beautiful building in Lincoln, and we've outgrown it. You're next. And we've been able to start to reacquire land that was taken from us. Just last month, with the leadership of Tribal Council, we were able to acquire, and we now own 1,800 acres of our traditional homeland in Niobrara, land that was taken from us when the treaty that signed for it was broken by the federal government. Land again acquired and lost with our termination in the 60s. That land includes Chief Standing Bear's last allotment and his burial site, and will forever be back in the Poncas. This land is significant to our tribe as a physical representation of our restoration. Another symbol of our growth is the Fred Leroy Health and Wellness Center. For 20 years, we've provided health care to our people and other natives in the area. And this year, we've taken the next steps in expanding those services. We will move from a 12,000 square foot clinic to over a 100,000 square foot clinic that will continue to provide first class and expanded services to our tribal members, to all natives in the metro area, and to all people. And today, we are brought together for the opening of Prairie Flower Casino. This building, this casino, is a symbol of our resilience and of a more secure future for our next generations. This gaming facility and our new health facility are physical structures that show the commitment we have as people to care for each other, to ensure our citizens and our children have the same opportunities as others, and to provide for the future of our tribe. Just as our ancestors used the tools they had at the time provided for them, we see Prairie Flower as an economic tool that we have, just like any other government would do, to provide for our citizens and create a foundation for the future and for generations to come. Like city and state governments, we provide services to our citizens, and we struggle financially to fully fund these essential needs. In 1970, President Nixon addressed a joint session of Congress and said, on virtually every scale of measurement, employment, income, education, and health, the condition of Indian people ranks at the bottom. The time has come to break decisively with the past and create the conditions for a new era in which the Indian future is determined by Indian acts and Indian decisions. He urged Congress to give tribal governments the ability to do what's best for their citizens. And 48 years later, we're a testament to that vision. We must continue to evolve and grow to promote and protect our sovereignty and our self-determination. We are in an exciting period of job growth. It's taken us 28 years to get to the amount of employees that we have today. Before this casino opened, we have just around 200 employees. With this, we add another 100. Within the next 2 years, we'll add another 250 with the opening of our new clinic here in Ralston. And with our expansion and plans for the future for this facility, we'll add another 1,000. All of those should happen within the next 4 years. That is a lot of growth for our people. Our growing economy will help us start a land management program, create an elders program, and continue to promote and enrich youth programs and to protect our identity by creating and sustaining a fluent Ponca language speaker program. Without our language, we lose who we are as Poncas. Our sovereignty and our future depend on it. We continue to bring our elders' vision to fruition, and we have much to be thankful for. Our tribal economy is growing and diversifying. Our healthcare is expanding, and our decisions are all guided by our culture. We are here today because of our ancestors and our elders, and we honor all of you with the utmost respect. But we must also plan and protect for the future of our youth. The world is a much different place today, place today than it was a generation ago when we were reinstated. 1990, seems like a long time. That's a long time ago. 1990, I was 19. I was a 19-year-old know-it-all. And now I'm a 47-year-old, and some would say I'm probably still a know-it-all. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. But I digress. But we must prepare for the next generation and the next 7 generations as our ancestors did before us. That is our sovereign responsibility to each other and to them. We know what it means to face losses, the loss of our people, our lands, and our relationship with the government. Each decision we make now is to protect what we have for the future and ensure this foundation is long-standing and protected. This casino doesn't define who we are as a tribe. Our culture, our history, and our people do that. But what it does symbolize is our sovereignty, our ability to determine what economic development opportunities will best meet the needs of our tribal citizens now and into the future. Gatega, we belong. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to welcome one of our nearest and dearest and most important partners in this whole process. I'd like to identify and call up Mr. Ron Cumberledge, Mayor of Carter Lake, to say a few words.
Well, good afternoon. I wasn't planning on being a speaker today, but Larry asked, so here we are. Just a little information where we're standing today. When you drive into this facility, it looks like a huge metropolitan area. Carter Lake is 2 miles square, 3,700 people. We are a small town, and as a small town, we have those financial burdens just as any small town. You know, we have limited resources to do what people need with the services and the updates. And this project, this casino, came all in a hurry. I mean, it came to us, and Larry sat down, and his people came up with some great ideas, and we're together. We're a partner with the resources that this casino provides to our community, to your people. I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of the city of Carter Lake, and as the mayor, this means a lot. This development with the 100 new jobs, it's just a tool we're gonna use to bring people to this town. We're gonna try to do some more improvements to keep everything going as well as Larry plans. He's got some great sight for the future. I hope it all flies, and we're going to be a partner in that. So just as the mayor of this town, I just want to thank all of you for this development and this opportunity that came about. Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to, before we turn it over to the really important people here today, I'd like to call up Patrick Brown, General Manager of our casino. And I'd like Patrick to introduce his personnel here and recognize them.
Well, good afternoon. It's a great day, isn't it? It sure is. Thank you, Chairman Larry, and thank you, all tribal members and Ponca employees. As the general manager of 100-plus employees, it is an honor and a privilege that we represent you. For us, it was a short 9 weeks ago, and here we are, and we're going to build this into a world-class guest satisfaction, guest service company, one that you'll be very, very proud of. How about that? I want to say thank you. There are a number of casino operational vendors and consultants, and some of them are still on the floor, but some of them are out here. They've been working for weeks. I want to acknowledge the vendors and the consultants. Let's give them a big hand. I have, we work, I said to Chairman Larry, how many hours do we need to be open? And he said 24/7, 7 days a week. So we're planned 24/7, 7 days a week, and we have 100+ employees to get the job done. Very, very excited employees. So I have day shift here. Some of them are here. Let's give them a big hand. And if all of you are excited to be working for the Ponca Nation, let me hear it as an employee team. I do want to acknowledge my executive team, and I'll call your name if you just come up. Jamie Williams, Peggy Houston, Lou Rosa, Scott Self, Randy Betchel, Robbie Johnson, and Vicki Rush. Very nice. Thank you very much. All, thank you.
Next, I'd like to recognize all of the past tribal council members and board members that have served in some form or fashion on tribal council, the gaming commission, all of those that have played a part in bringing us here today. If you would please stand and be recognized so that people can identify you and the work that you put in for all these years. I know I'm a PR person's nightmare. And so when they said, they give me this sheet and they put times on it, and I'm like, you're not used to working with tribes, are you? And you're not used to working with us. But they've done very well. And I said, we can put times on the speakers. We're not the important piece here. The important piece is you, our elders, and all those are tribal citizens. And so at this time, I want to remind you that you're on video. So if you lie, we'll know. But we want to make sure that we identify and give everybody an opportunity who wishes to speak and be heard. If you want to come up here, we ask you to come up here with the microphone. Or we can bring it to you too, but it'd be better if you could come up here. But if you can't walk, that's fine. But we want to make sure that we identify and give everybody an opportunity to speak and share in this momentous occasion, celebrating our 28th anniversary. And this opening of Prairie Flower Casino. So with that, I know James LaPointe asked to say a few words. James, you want to start us off?
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it. Thank our relatives, Umaha, sing for us too. Wonderful songs today. Appreciate that. Made me feel real good. I think I've been around, it's my 20th year on tribal council. I was also on the restoration committee for a bit, so I've been around for a while. A lot of people here know me. Some people, when I was growing up, called me Jimmy. Some people growing up called me Charlie. People today call me James, and a lot of people, I think, probably call me him talk too much. So I come up with what I think, I believe Becky and I just talked about a little bit ago. Becky come up with a native word that would be more appropriate. She says loquacious, and so I'm not sure what tribe that is from, but I appreciate probably the term loquacious for my speaking. But anyway, I did want to speak on behalf of an individual that's no longer with us. As I go back, I served on the restoration committee with Dwayne Bungie, and then I served with him after the election of '94 when I was on the council. At that time, Dwayne did serve a long term on the Restoration Committee, as of course was instrumental in developing the Constitution that you all voted and passed in the summer of 1994 and the election following in that November. Dwayne chose not to run for tribal council, though I think he would have been elected easily. He chose to go in the direction to form and get permission from the council to form a gaming commission. At that time, the people on that gaming commission were Alex Taylor, who's here today. Alex, if you would just stand up, please, as being one of the original members. Alex, of course, served a good time on the Restoration Committee, but I also served with Alex and Dwayne on the Gaming Commission. The Gaming Commission at that time was near and dear to Dwayne as far as he wanted to do is find land, get someone to go into business with, and start a casino. And the reason that he had, and he's spoken to me many times about it, to start a casino was to be able to provide health care for all of our Ponca people, whether they're in the service area or live out of state in other states. That was his wish and dream, was for a casino so that all Ponca people would have health care taken care of. Unfortunately, Dwayne passed 4 years later in '98, and it was Alex and I that continued to take his voice into the Council of 2000 to purchase land that we would one day, hopefully, do gaming on. And this is a result, right here as we speak today, of the individual Dwayne and his impetus of what we wanted and he wanted and his dream. And so we are a step closer to that. And so today I really want to thank Dwayne and also recognize Alex. And fortunately, I was blessed to serve with both those individuals who had a bit more experience than I did at the time. So I appreciate that. And this is a welcoming day for his family, and I wanted to make sure his family, that Dwayne was recognized. I also, thank you for that. I am one of those, and there are many here today that were alive before we were terminated. In 1962, I was 16. Before that, I'd taken trips, and family had moved to Norfolk, where there are a lot of Poncas today, for the reason of employment. But I remember the drives back to my grandfather's place, and that's Chief Otto Knutson at the time. And he still had his log cabin along the Niobrara River on his original allotment. And so I remember him as he got older, he moved to Norfolk and lived next door to us. And I would listen to my grandfather speak Ponca, to many Poncas that come to visit him, whether it was Odo Birdhead, Raymond Smith, Dean or Shorty Birdhead, Marvin Cole. There's so many that I got to meet that were older because I was a kid and nosy and hung around his place. And at times I would then listen to my grandmother, his wife, who was Santee Sioux, speak Santee Sioux. So I was around the language, but unfortunately, after termination, we lost a lot of our language and maybe some of our things that are now coming back to all of us. The last thing I'd like to mention is someone from my district in District 3 that I had a lot of communication with over the years and made the trip here today, Susie Baker. Would you stand up, please? And